طيب بسم الله. We continue the second part of this lecture about chapter 11 of the organizational 512, organization behavior and leadership. And this chapter is about interpersonal behavior at work, conflict, cooperation, trust, and deviance. And we discussed so far the interpersonal behavior, and we talked about psychological contract and the trust, building of working relationship. And then we talked about the trust in the working relationship. And then we talked about organizational citizenship, the concept of organizational citizenship behavior, which is going above and beyond the formal job requirement. And we discuss the concept of organizational citizenship behavior, and one devoted for individuals, helping individuals, and one for organization. And we then talked about the competition, okay? And then we talked about the personal orientation, okay? And we stop last chapter here in the cooperation between organizational and the cooperation between organizations, okay? Partnering with suppliers, okay? Cooperation takes different forms. Partnering with the suppliers, research and development partnership, inter-organizational alliances, and social dilemma. And we did discuss extensively about the social dilemma. Now, cooperation, when we talk about cooperation or alliances, there are alliances are of three types, okay? Alliances, which is joint venture. And joint venture could be of a three type. Company to company, company to government, and government to government. What do you mean by that? Company to company, assume Aramco would like to build a refinery. They did a joint venture with Exxon or Mobil. This is company to company, alliance, joint venture. Company to government, assume Lockheed Aircraft and Services would like to do a contract with the Ministry of Defense, Saudi Arabia. This is company to government. Government to government is what? When the government Saudi Arabia made cooperation with government of France or government of Britain, government United States, this is called government to government. And these are projects, okay? Now, cooperation takes different form. And cooperation between organizations, partnering with suppliers, research and development, okay? And inter-organizational alliances and social dilemma. Partnering with supplier, R&D partnership, and inter-organizational alliances and social dilemma. Again, the research found that multi-party alliance, and I brought you this example to appreciate to what extent when we talk about cooperation, okay? Could be something small all the way to big, okay? Therefore, this is alliances as part of the cooperation. So multi-party alliance can deal with non-cooperative behavior in more than one company involved. Sometimes when we have joint venture or partnership, you will find some lack of cooperation. Okay. The harm produced by selfish action, we talked about selfish last time, okay, will bring harm to other companies and divisions. It's very important to try to practice this organizational citizenship and get out of this selfish behavior, because it could harm the whole other companies and other divisions. It is difficult to reach all alliances and partners and influence their decisions through your own action, and could result into threatening from the withdrawal. Threatening them of withdrawal. Sometimes if this cooperation doesn't go well, especially if you deal with other companies, especially if they are international, or sometimes they threaten you. If you don't cooperate, we will threaten, we have been going to get out of this joint venture. But this is very, very important to have this concept of cooperation. How can you reduce this risk? Okay, reducing the risk is taking steps to ensure the payoffs for universal cooperation are greater than the defection member. It has to have good payment system that consider the cooperation in mind. Okay, increase level of communication between members. Focus on long-term gain for this joint venture or cooperation versus short-term goals. Establish high level of identification with these alliances. And therefore, this is the cooperation. Conflict. Okay. Conflict is the inevitable results of incompatible interest. Conflict is when people perceive that another party taken or will take action that is incompatible of their own interest. And they are of three types, okay? Substantive, effective, and process. Substantive conflict, when people have different viewpoints and opinions regarding decisions they are making with others. It can be beneficial to help a group make better decisions. Example, substantive conflict. I remember when I was financial director for the university, we had a meeting with the purchasing people. And during that meeting, members almost they got into conflict. This guy said, no, I find better source. This guy, no, I find better source with better quality, with this fund. And deep inside me, even though this is a conflict, but inside me I was so happy because people are what? Everybody is looking after the interests of the university. So this is what we mean by substantive. Sometimes it's good to have this conflict. It's good for the benefit of the company. Effective conflict, when people experience clashes of personality or interpersonal tension that result in frustration and anger. Effective, sometimes if you lose focus and you concentrate on the person himself. You told him, you did that before and you are not, doing, this is, but this is called effective conflict. Process conflict, where differences opinion regarding how work group are going to operate. Sometimes you have differences in the way you operate things, the way you manage things, okay? This is called the process conflict. I disagree with you in the way that you are managing your department. This is process conflict. How various duties and resources will be allocated, and the responsibilities that goes with it. Also, part of it, how is the resources being distributed? Because we said last time that manager is nothing more than what? Decision maker and resource allocator. Therefore, this is part of the process conflict. Cues for conflict cues, okay? Cues, certain things that happen that it give you just signs that there is a conflict, okay? Which is, one of it is called grudges. The grudges is ضغائن, something deep inside you, and you just, when you try to get even with other, okay, when you have something with a person himself. We have what we call, this is ضغائن, okay, malevolent attributes, and this is even worse, أحقاد, okay. Malevolent attribution, when did you, when did something when you did something, or when somebody do something to hurt another person, to extent that you feel you suffer because of that other person. Unfortunately, sometimes, some reason, for management reasons, sometimes managers take decisions, and these decisions will harm some people. Those will make a stance, and they will have that, built over them. And they feel that the manager was the reason that caused them all that pain or all that suffer. Distrust, okay? Distrust is the more we don't trust people, the more conflict we will have with them. Again, scarcity resource competition, again, same conflict, which is every manager fight for more resources, and this will create competition. How to manage conflict effectively? Again, agree on a process for making decision before the conflict arises. Make sure everyone knows his or her reason of responsibilities, authority, and accountability. Recognize conflicts stemming from faulty organizational systems, such as the pay system and reward system. Recognize the emotional reaction to conflict. People, they feel about it, and okay. Consider how to avoid problem rather than assigning blame for them. Conflict will not go away by making believe that they don't exist. As long as you have people, you will have conflict. Don't think that they just vanish or go away, okay? Managing conflict through negotiation. Managing conflict through negotiation, we have negotiation, bargaining. Negotiation is bargaining, and it is where two parties are in dispute and exchange offer and counter offer to find mutual acceptable agreement. This type of negotiation is what we call win-win situation. In win-win situation, avoid making unreasonable offer, try always to be reasonable, seek the common ground, broaden the scope of issues considered, and uncover the real issue. This is the win-win situation. We have this is the win-win situation. We have what we call ADR, alternative, okay? Alternative dispute resolution, ADR, and this is mediation, arbitration, And type of arbitration is binding, voluntary, conventional, and final offer. Probably I'll stop here and give you a small story about my membership with the International Chamber of Commerce. International Chamber of Commerce, this is headquartered in France, and it is, as much as we have WTO, World Trade Organization, okay, it's part of it. You know, United Nations is the arm that resolve any conflict politically, okay? At one point of time, the whole world will need another arm, will be for business and commerce. And this is, for that reason, under the United Nations, they put WTO, World Trade Organization. Okay. Now, and they have Chamber of Commerces in each country, and then they have for each region, and for each almost continent, and then they have for the world. I've been nominated to become a member or board member for International Chamber of Commerce. And this has two main functions. First function is the arbitration. Actually, first function is about this G20 countries. Before they pass any law, they will send it to those countries. Say, what do you think? We take it, we evaluate it, we go through it, and if this is going to be positive for our country, we say, oh, this is very good, we've been waiting for something like this, go ahead and do it. They get consensus for all these from all countries, especially the top 20, Saudi Arabia part of them, and then they pass the law. Or we said, oh, no, be careful, this is not good for us. If you pass this law, it's going to affect our trading, it's going to affect our export. This is what we do as the first function. Second function is the arbitration. If a Saudi company had a conflict with a Saudi company in Saudi Arabia, they go to the Ministry of Commerce, try to solve it. If joint venture company, American company, has a conflict with a French company, but they are in Saudi Arabia, where did they go? They go to arbitration with this International Chamber of Commerce in Paris, and they try to resolve the problem. And this arbitration, therefore, the members of International Chamber of Commerce, half of them are lawyers, because they need them for what? For arbitration. Now this is very important when we discuss the negotiation, mediation, and arbitration. Okay? Deviate organizational, we have alternative dispute resolution, ADR. Okay? And this is combination of mediation and arbitration, and working together with a neutral party to help settle the disagreement outside the court. We have المediation اللي هو الوسيط، والarbitration اللي هو المحكمة والتحكيم. فالمediation or mediator, a third natural party mediator, work together with both parties to settle the conflict. There is a conflict. Arbitration is a third party, they call it arbiter, has the power to impose or recommend the terms of agreement between the two or more conflicting parties. And we have 4 types of agreements. Binding, إجباري, okay? The two sides agreed in advance. You have conflict, this again, American company with French company, they have said, we'll put arbitration, and then whatever this المحكم or this arbitrator, we are going to go with it. The two sides agree in advance to accept the terms and conditions. Voluntarily, second type, both sides have the right to accept and reject. They put arbiter, but what they said, we would like to review it and go through it, and we have the right to take it or not. Then we have conventional. Conventional. This is arbitrator can offer any package or terms her or she wishes. We leave it to the arbitrator. He's the one who can handle it, and he can value how much there or how much is the cost, and he can. Final offer is this is arbitrator chooses between final offers. Sometimes we leave it up to him, so this offer, this offer. Now, this is shows different party, dispute party A, assume company A, dispute party B, French company, American or British company. Now, a mediator recommended terms of agreement between disputing parties. He just recommended mediator, proceed. While the arbitrator's muhakkim is like a judge, impose terms of agreement and between disputing parties. This is much stronger arbitrator than the mediator. Organizational deviance. Okay? A deviance is international. It's intentional violate the organizational norms and or the formal rules of the society that results to negative consequences. Intentionally violate the rules of the organization. This is the organizational deviance, norms and of organizational violated. We have for organization and we have norms of society. Two types. If it's being violated, organization and society, then this is called destructive organizational deviance, destructive error. If it is organizational, norm of organizational has been violated, but the norm of society is not being violated. This is called constructive organizational deviance. This is followed. For instance, we are going to bring some example here to make it clear. Destructive organizational deviance. This is violating both organizational and societal norms. Constructive organizational deviance. This is deviating from organizational norms, but consistent with social norms. Example, if a company dumping waste, hazardous waste, they dump it in the desert, but employees inside the organization, they don't like this. They said, no, you should do that. And they go to the EPA or MAPA, Environmental Protection Agency, and they say, look, even though it's my company, but I think they're not doing fine. They're not doing well. This is going to hurt our society. This is going to hurt our environment. This is positive. Okay? Some companies does that, and some companies try to get away with it for a reason. We have something called whistle blowing. Like whistle, like the referee in a soccer match. He has a whistle and he blow it. Whistle blowing is these kind of people, I told you, that if they find something their company doesn't do well, they report it to agencies or parties who can do something about it. Now, as a rule of thumb, we talked last time about rule of thumb, and we called rule of thumb is what? Heuristic, okay? Or general guideline. Do not do anything illegal or unethical to live a happy working life, do not do anything illegal or unethical. That's أول شيء، غير نظامي وغير أخلاقي وغير قانوني، عشان أنت تعيش مرتاح وسعيد، ولا حد يجي عليك ويمسك عليك أي حاجة. Okay, whistleblowing is disclosure صح by employees of illegal, immoral, illegitimate practice by employers to people or organizations that can take action. تروح تخبر عنها. You just go and tell those authority or governmental authority who can take action. We have also something called cyber loafing. Cyber loafing is using companies' email and or internet facilities for personal use. Does this happen at companies? Yes, it does. So this is called what? Cyber loafing. We have something called workplace aggression type. And this is act of verbal and physical abuse toward others in organization. Do we have that? Yes, we do. We have what we called also, it takes many forms, like expression of hostility, obstructionism, or overt aggression. Also, we have something called incivility, عدم التحضر, which is lack of regard to others, denying them the respect they deserve. Obstruction or obstructionism, attempt to impede إعاقة another job performance. You try to put obstacle. Overt aggression, act of harming other in the organization. Overt aggression, عداء علني يعني. We have workplace aggression cues. The first one is perceived unfairness. To what extent you see fairness and it's not, or you've been treated not fairly. Perceived unfairness, يقول لك when individual feel that he has been treated unfairly by others on the organization or by the organization itself. As a result, experience anger and resentment, غضب واستياء, that might lead to harming the people held responsible. It happened in the organization. High trait anger. Who engage in workplace aggression? High trait anger. Responding to situation by anger. And positive attitude toward revenge. Positive attitude toward revenge. Justification to get back to other who caused the harm. You put yourself justification, like I should get something, and I should get into that, or I should get even with that. This is called positive. You put for yourself excuses to go ahead and do harm for others. We have past experience with aggression. Some people have history involve aggressive behavior. They have history of that. This is also, these are some cues. And we have express anger overtly. Express anger rather than suppress it. Suppress it. يعني some people just shouting all the time and يعني they don't respect people, they are in higher position, rather than يكتم غيظه, suppressing the anger, he try to what? He always shows it. So some people take him because he's boss. For that we have something called what? Anger management, training and courses, how to deal with these type of angers. And these top people in top management should go and do it. Can you tell what type of tempered person you are? Yes. If you don't, ask your friends, ask your family members, tell them what do I think. Do you change over time? Yes. Because you get older, you get more wiser. The problem that if you don't change over time. Some people don't. Nobody come and tell them that this is a problem. You will be blessed if somebody come and tell you that, look, you have a problem. You become angry too much. This is not good for you, for your health, for the work, okay? But this is something that usually we get out of our close friends, okay? That they like us. We have another important aspect اللي هو workplace bullying. تنمر. Different type of bullying: constant critic, two-headed snake, vindictive goalkeeper, screaming mimi. What do you mean by each of those? Constant critic uses installation and belittling comments, engage in name calling. Call people names. ما تفهم, غبي, ما تسمع, انت. Constantly harangues the victim about his or her incompetence. انت ما تفهم, انت. You always tell them. Make aggressive eye contact. You look at your eye very aggressively, just like he wants you to be feel. Then we have the two-headed snake, denies victims the resources needed at work, demands that worker provide damning evidence against the victim, or assigns meanings work as a punishment. Vindictive gatekeeper, as if he has a gate and he tries to keep you out to do good job. Isolate the victim, ignoring him or her with silent treatment. ما يعطي شيء بس مجرد انه ايش يسفها. Deliberately cuts the target out of the communication loop but expect the victim to have the missing information. يعني he put him in a very awkward situation. A screaming mimi yells, screams and curse. وشو يلعنوا. Make loud, angry outburst and throw tantrums, or intimidate by slamming things and throwing objects. What does he do? He slams the door. He takes this, throw it out to you. What type of man? This is all kind of bullying. Managing workplace aggression. Establish clear norms against abusive treatment of employees and enforcement of procedures. Do not accept bullying in the organization. Do not accept abusive behavior. Do not accept violence in the organization. It has to be very clear to them. Okay? Train managers in interpersonal skills. Take that angry manager, put him in an anger management course. Conduct periodic employees satisfaction and commitment assessment. Make assessment accordingly. Employee theft, this is the other, is taking company property for personal use. They say this is about, most of the theft doesn't come from customer or outsider, it comes from the employee themselves. 7 times as much. 7 times as much. This is the research says, okay? Causes of these theft, see co-workers doing it. Because other people do it, they do it. Not stealing goes against the group norms. It's okay to steal, okay? Reducing the steals involve employees in the theft policy creation. When you put policies, bring employee so that they will give you idea and put the procedure with you. Communicate stealing costs. Tell them, this month we had a stealing of that and that cost us that much. And treat employees fairly. Don't force them to steal from you, because if you don't treat them fairly, you don't give them fair wage, they will look for other ways to what? To steal from the company. Be a good role model. Thank you very much, and this will conclude our chapter for organizational behavior and leadership, chapter 11, interpersonal behavior at work, conflicting, cooperation, trust, and deviance, okay? And we'll see you next time. Thank you very much, and you have a good day.